Hi guys, this is Hassan Khalid, your teacher, facilitator, tutor, and you are watching Inside Beacon. Our today's concept is added value. You can also call it adding value, creating value, value added, it's all the same, right? This concept is part of the syllabus of O levels business and A levels business. Let's define the term first. It is the difference between the selling price of finished products and the cost of bought-in material. Now, let's define the two terms which are part of the definition. One is finished products and the other is bought-in material. Now, finished products are those products that do not require any further processing and they are available for use by consumers. For example, cell phone, car, or let's say ready-made garments, or whatever items you buy that are of daily need from the market. Okay, now whereas when we talk about bought-in material, these are the items which are required to be processed. Let me give you an example. For example, you run a clothes manufacturing business, and to manufacture clothes you require zips, buttons, fabric, right, thread. Now these are bought-in material because you will require them to manufacture clothes. So when you pay a certain amount of money to buy those items, we call it cost of bought-in material. Now there are two questions. The first one is that what is the importance of added value, and the second is how to add value or how to create value. I'll answer those questions, but at the moment I will be addressing a very common confusion that hovers over the minds of O-level students and A-level students, and that is profit versus added value. They are not able to distinguish between these two terms. They feel they are the same. In fact, it's not true. Added value is the selling price minus cost of bought-in material, whereas the profit is about when we subtract all the costs of the business from the selling price or the revenue. Cost of bought-in material is not the only cost business incurs. There are other costs as well, such as salaries and wages paid to workers, interest on loan, depreciation on machinery, rent of the building, okay, and there are other costs as well. So unless and until all the costs are subtracted from the selling price or revenue, we cannot get profit. So that is the difference between added value and profit. But this leads us towards the answer of the first question, that is importance of added value. Why is it important to study added value? The reason is because higher the added value, higher will be the profit. And what is the reason behind it? The reason is that if there is higher value added, it means the business will be able to pay the rest of the expenses comfortably, and as a result there will be higher profit. That is why all businesses try to create higher added value so that end result will be higher profit as well. So now let's summarize the difference. Profit is when all the costs of the business are subtracted from the selling price of the product, whereas added value is when only cost of bought-in material is subtracted from the selling price. Now let's talk about the second question, that is how to add value. Now to understand that, I'll give you an example. You know that added value is the difference between the selling price and the cost of bought-in material, right? So how to add value? And the way is you can increase the gap between these two, right? So there are two main ways. In fact, there are two ways only. One, you can increase the selling price to increase the gap between these two items, or you can reduce the cost of bought-in material. Again, the gap will increase. Or you can use both the ways. You can increase the price as well, and you can reduce the cost of bought-in material as well. That will help you to create value. But now the question is it that easy to reduce the cost of bought-in material and to increase the selling price? The answer is no. Why? Because let's say if you increase the selling price, right, value will be added. But do you think people would like to buy a product having the same features, same quality, but with a higher price? Of course not. They will switch to another competitor. So that is why when you are increasing your price, you have to do something so that higher price can be justified. So one of the way is you can advertise your product in such a way that it helps you to create a good brand image of the product. So if now people perceive that it's a high quality product because of your effective advertisement, now you are able to increase your price, because now people feel higher price means higher quality as well. So now it is justifiable. And otherwise, if you increase the price, what will happen? Value will be added, but it won't make the product successful and profitable. Why? Because people won't buy it simply. So if people won't buy, how can product be successful or profitable? Similarly, when we talk about cost of lowering cost of bought-in material, it's also possible, but you need to be very careful. Why? Let's say you are switching supplier. For example, earlier you were buying from a supplier, but the cost was high. Now you switch to another supplier who can offer you the raw material or the bought-in material at a lower cost. But you need to see that whether the quality is the same or not. Because if quality is compromised and you are getting the bought-in material at a lower cost, it won't serve the purpose. Because value will be added, yes, you will be able to reduce the cost of bought-in material, right? Value will be added, but again it won't make the product successful and profitable. Why? Because quality is compromised, and people won't like to buy a product having compromised quality. Like if the price is the same but the quality has gone down, do you think people would like to buy that? Of course not. So that would make the product unsuccessful and unprofitable. So you need to be very careful that while switching to another supplier, quality should not be compromised, but you are getting the same raw material at a lower cost. In the end, I would like to give you some examples to have even better understanding of the concept. Think about a restaurant business. If a restaurant business has polite, gentle and well-trained staff, people would like to visit such restaurants even if the price is on the higher side. Why? Because they are satisfied with it, and the staff helps them to order the food they like. For example, the content of spices involved in food, sugar, carbohydrates, protein. Okay, because if people are diet conscious or they have a specific liking or disliking regarding a food, so staff can help them. Now, this adds value and people will be willing to pay a higher price. Similarly, the environment of the restaurant, if it is quite peaceful or people like the environment, sitting there having a dinner or lunch, again value is added and higher price is justifiable. Similarly, if I talk about let's say iPhone, why iPhone is so expensive? Is it the case that the cost is too much? No. Why? Because they have created the brand image of it, right? And that is why even if it is very expensive, people would like to have. Why? Because it gives you a status symbol. The sign of Apple gives you a status symbol, and that adds value, and you are willing to pay even a higher price, whatever it is, if you have the purchasing power. So this is how many businesses can add value. Now, the ways I explained it to you through examples, it's about increasing the selling price. There has to be a reason behind it that you can justify the higher price being charged. Similarly, you can reduce the cost of bought-in material as well. Again, a restaurant business can choose a supplier who can supply them the vegetables, fruits, or ingredients which are required to cook a dish at a lower cost. But again, keep this thing in your mind that quality should not be compromised. So again, value will be added, and that would help the business to earn higher profit as well. Why? Because the rest of the expenses will be met easily, and end result will be the higher profit.